by my house. Friday's the early day. It was quite busy today. Actually, most of the week that I want to review is stories from today. So we're actually going to work backwards from the way we normally do. Sunday, I put out huge sets from trade-ins we got. Monday, we had an early night. We ended at 6. I got all the new stuff out. We were somewhat busy. Nice grouping of people. And then my son got to DM his first D&D session with his sisters and mother while I took care of the younger children. It was a big special event for us. Tuesday, we got a whole bunch of great new books out. Got all of Wednesday stuff ready. And again, some increase in business. We got the sale stuff put up, announced, and out. Printed up a lot of labels on Wednesday and dealt with new customers coming in, a lot of people who had off for the holiday. And then put all the sales stuff up Thursday. Pretty decent Thursday for 4th of July. 4th of July, the day we've been open numerous times, lots of different ways. As I said, we've had events on July 3rd. We've had sales on July 4th, one day only. We've done all sorts of stuff. Right now the sale is going from July 4th yesterday through Sunday night. And nobody came out specifically because of the sale, but there were people out walking. A few who took advantage of the sale because of it. I shouldn't say that. No, a couple customers did come because of the sale. And then today was just a really busy day. Today, hey Mark, today is exactly the kind of day that can be busy. It's a day after a national holiday, but it's a weekend leading in. Lots of people took off today, clearly. Lots of people on vacation. I got a lot of people who I rarely see. But I had a couple of good stories for today, and that's why I quickly ran through the rest of the weeks to get to today. I can't do a super long live stream. I highly doubt we'll get up to the 4 minutes or 3 minutes, 3.5 minutes, where they start telling random people to jump on the live. But here are the stories from today. One, about 10 to 12 college-age kids just walk in the door all at once. Literally, there was like 2 people in the store before that, and then all of a sudden the store is packed out because they're all standing right in front. They start spreading out throughout the store, and it just looks full. And then a bunch more people came in right after them, really, really packing the store out. But when those 12 walked in, I'm like, what is going on here? And then I looked over and I saw one of them, and I realized that it was going on with something that I've seen numerous times in the 11 years that we've been open. What happened was a customer has been coming in since she was 14 probably, was away at college, and apparently her house was the get-together house this weekend. Her house was the place, or maybe tonight, but her house is either her friends who live in the area or her friends who she goes to college with came to her. Whatever it was, all 12 of those kids were hanging out in that one group. Maybe they're cousins, I don't know. And they all came into the comic shop. But the difference between what would have happened 11 years ago and what happened today was that 11 years ago, probably 3 or 4 of the kids would have stayed and looked at the comics. And maybe one more besides the one who came in would have bought stuff. It was quite the opposite. About 3 or 4 of them ended up leaving within 5-10 minutes. The other 8 stayed for quite a while, and I think 4 people in that group bought things, which is really just people read comics. Especially there's a sale on, so they tried stuff out. The other 2 stories that I have are actually really interesting, and I think really indicative of one of the issues that we have been talking about for a long time. I have a video, I'm going to reference the video anyway, but I have a video about it. The single issue market, the superhero comic book market. It is not something that I devote a lot of energy to in the shop, because I've devoted a lot of, right Mark, it's a nice story. I've devoted a lot of thinking to it outside the shop, and these are the conclusions I've come to, and I have a lot of anecdotal evidence that backs it up. Such anecdotal evidence as a customer who was in today, and he was the type I haven't seen in a while. He was saying, I want to get into reading superheroes. I want to read like really good stories with people, but like, I don't know. I read a bunch of stuff, and I'm really lost. I went on the internet and I got a list, and I look at this list and I'm not sure I want to read it. What should I get? I don't know. And I'm going, well, okay, well, what do you like about superheroes? Well, I love the MCU movies. I watch all DC movies. I love all that stuff. I said, oh. I said, but what about like books? He goes, no, that's really like, those are my favorite things. And so I thought I could read the comics. I love the movies. I've watched all the movies. I know them inside out. And then he said, so I read, what was he read? Blackest Night, DC's Blackest Night. I looked up if you like the movie, and I read it and I liked it. It was good. And I said, right, sure, it makes sense. You love the Marvel movies, you love the DC universe, you'll probably enjoy Blackest Night. That makes sense. And he goes, and I read Secret Wars. And he had mentioned before the Jonathan, he goes, and I just felt lost. Because I thought I really knew Marvel stuff. I thought I knew Marvel characters. I thought I knew Marvel history. And I read that book and I was totally lost. And I was like, well, I mean, Secret Wars is really like one of the worst crossovers. Literally, Marvel stopped their entire run of books as this was coming out and instead replaced them with Secret Wars books that were taking place in a different reality. And the main series, the Jonathan Hickman series that you read, had tons of characters show up in later issues from all those different miniseries. You don't have to read them, but like they're not going to explain it. But that's the way that's written. You can read other stuff, and other stuff isn't that complicated. It was like, what? And when I show him stuff, and the issue was he didn't want to read anything that was like early 90s or earlier. He just didn't. I tried a bunch of that stuff. I didn't really like the art, so I want more recent. He didn't want stuff where he was going to feel like he didn't know what was going on, like he didn't know who the characters were. He didn't want single issues. He didn't want omnibuy. Anything that was over like $40 was too much. He wanted a book with like 12. And I showed him so many options, and he really couldn't decide. I'm sorry, I can't really read comments right now because the way the sun is. Try to move out of that for a minute. It's not really working. Don't get a lot of reflection. But anyway, he was really like at a loss. And he goes, and every time I look up this stuff, every time I try to find it, it just gets more and more confusing. And I said, well, yeah, that's superhero comic books. Like there's 80 years of history. They're going to reference it. They're going to kind of, but like I said, really up until the stuff you're talking about, up until Secret Wars and even the Green Lantern one, like they would explain. If someone's referencing something and they're bringing up something that you haven't seen in a long time, they're going to explain it. He goes, yeah, I get that, but like I feel so lost. He ended up getting Civil War, which I said is going to have a similar issue, except they'll explain who most of the characters are, who you don't know. But there are things happening in other books. They're going to say, oh, well, the Punisher's off doing this. Rather than the Hickman Secret Wars where they didn't say anything. So it's a little better. So he went with that. But he was really put out. And then I can contract that with the other customer I had who was just hating on a recent book. And hating on years and years of run of that book. Without, like, it didn't matter who had written it. Her favorite version of the series, is one of my favorite versions of the series, was in the 80s and 90s, late 80s. And it was like, right, that's a great series in the late 80s, but like, they're not making that now. And it was just so much negativity. And like, I'm a negative dude, especially when it comes to the superhero stuff. But I realized like, I'm negative, but I don't like take it personally. I'm not upset that the Avengers is a bad roster. Spider-Man's not being written well. Superman's family is too powerful. Like whatever your gripe is, I might have some of those gripes, but I don't like take them personally. This was like, she was angry. We went from like talking normally about the book she was buying and stuff to like her getting het up about anything that had to do with this character, and you know, agreeing that a certain writer and certain runs are great, but everything else was horrible. It's just so bad. And I'm like, whoa, okay. Not my favorite, but all right. And anyway, it was interesting. It's an interesting contrast, the two characters. And then this person says, yeah, well, I haven't bought single issue books until Ultimate Spider-Man. You know, I've read everything in trade or digital, but Ultimate Spider-Man's so good that I'm getting that in single issues. And I'm like, okay, great. I'm glad Ultimate Spider-Man, we've talked about Ultimate Spider-Man, a whole video about it with the single issue video, talks about Ultimate Spider-Man. It's a huge jumping on point. But like, you can't read the other stuff then. If you hate things on the level where it's a visceral thing, you can't read it. You can't pay $4 for a comic and then it's terrible. It's something you hate. Yeah, I get it. You really just can't take it that seriously, or else you're gonna have a bad time. Okay. Anyway, gonna head off for the Sabbath. Sale comes back Sunday. Hopefully a really busy day. We'll do a live stream wrap up. Mark, good to see you. And until Sunday, remember, damn it, babies. You gotta be kind.